Alright, so I just want to make a little bit of a highlight on how crafting works now in Path of Exile 2. So previously, Path of Exile 2 didn't really have crafting, not in the way that we wanted it to be at least. It wasn't deterministic enough. It just kind of felt like an RNG slot simulator where you slammed on exalts and prayed. But as of 0.3, they've actually introduced several really powerful crafting tools. We have tiered currency. We have reworked essences, which guarantee a mod on a regal or removes and adds a mod with perfects, right? And not just that, but they also added a bunch of omens. Now, obviously, you might be familiar with some of the old ones, right? But some of the new ones, like homogenizing, for example, are really, really, really powerful and can actually be combined, right? You can combine a homogenizing with a grader with a prefix or suffix, and you can actually activate all these at once and do some crazy shenanigans with them. And all in all, oh, and then of course, how could I forget the lead mechanic itself, allowing you to desecrate. Now, combining all these new systems together, we're actually able to create, I would say, crafting on the level of Path of Exile 1, if not better in certain situations. And I know that's a bold claim to make, but allow me to present to you exhibit number 1. Cast speed +3, energy shield, global energy shield, global defense with a veiled mod, and then spell damage, chaos damage, +1 totem, cast speed, +3 spell, recharge rate, focus. Like, and deterministically crafted for the most part. Like, I think it's like 5 out of 6. Well, it depends on your point of view on determinism in 5 out of 6, but very insane items is what I'm trying to say. Now, I learned how to do this through Fubgun and Spicy Sushi, full disclosure, but I'm going to go over it myself and give my takes on it and explain to you how I understand the system, so maybe you can try this on other pieces of gear to suit your build, because it doesn't just... Obviously, Fubgun isn't playing an Essence Drain Contagion Lich, he's playing a Deadeye. But the way the new system works, you can apply this to every single slot on every single build if you're smart and clever enough. So, the star of the show, by the way, the thing that makes this all work so well is this homogenization omen. This is the thing that is low-key the most broken, because it allows you to target tags. Now, what it says is, while this item is active, your next exalted orb, and there is one for regals as well, but while this item is active, your next exalt or regal will add a modifier of the same type as an existing modifier on an item. This is absolutely insane, because what it allows you to do is, let's say for example, let's just look at a chest, right? Let's say you are going to exalt a prefix, right? And it has defense tags only on the item. It's guaranteed to add another defense tag on the item, assuming there's no other tags anywhere else that like add modifiers to the pool. So allow me to explain with that real quick. I'll show you on Path of Exile. Although do keep in mind, Path of Exile doesn't have all the modifiers, so that's important to note. Just looking at chests, for example, right? Let's say we had only defense tags on the item. It can only now exalt or regal, depending on which omen you use, one of these 4 stats. So let's say you have percentage energy shield and you wanted to exalt another defense mod, you then use that omen and it will regal or exalt another one of these defense mods, one of these 3. And so you can kind of see where I'm getting at, why it's really broken, right? And I'll show you the absolute peak abuse case that I found on specifically the amulets. Look at the caster tag real quick. Yeah. There's only spell damage, cast speed, and +3 spell. So can you kind of see what I'm getting at here? Why this is so broken? So you have access to +3 spell, right? Now you might notice the weighting is quite low. 125 weighting is very low, right? Well, the next thing I'll mention is these tiered currencies. Now, what these tiered currencies do is they have this tag on it, minimum modifier level, yeah? Now, perfect exalts are required for this. It depends on the modifier level, so keep that in mind. So just showing you what a perfect exalt does really quickly. Minimum level 50. Minimum, that basically means you can no longer exalt +1 or +2. It has to be +3. And there's only 3 total caster mods. So if you combine homogenization, same type, you have one of those caster modifiers, yeah? And then you combine that with double exalt, and you could even go as far as to add a prefix or a suffix exalt. I don't think you need it for this. I didn't anyway. Yeah, so just pretend that I had a perfect exalt here. If you exalt an item with these 2 things and this, assuming this was 3, it guarantees +3. So, but that's exactly what I did to abuse crafting +3 onto this amulet. Absolutely insane, by the way. Absolutely insane. I believe I exalted energy shield and because it had a defense tag, and the +3 because it had the caster tag. So I'll be using this with prefixes and suffixes. You can kind of, like, if you have 4 prefixes, it can only exalt suffixes, or you could do the omen to only add prefixes or suffixes. But I'll be using all these omens together, combined with the tiered currency, combined with all that, allows you to break the game, essentially. So I'm very impressed with the crafting in POE2. There's also the new essence types as well. It allows you to essentially, I'll show you a craft actually that I was cooking just now. And this is what I mean when I say you can apply this to any slot in the game that you want. You just have to be clever about it. So I'll do it from scratch to show you, but I was looking at upgrading my wand, right? Currently I have +4 spell damage hybrid cast speed. And I was thinking, how would I get a +5, right? +5 is a very, very rare mod. For the record, by the way, I decided against actually finishing this craft because I realized +1, it's just not worth the currency to me. I'd rather try a new build and craft OP gear that way. But what you can do is, I do recommend starting with this style of crafting, and I will go over non-fractured crafting. But with this style of crafting, I recommend going for fracture. So I decided I want a wand with +5 chaos. I want cast speed, right? I want spell damage, hybrid spell damage, and I want chaos damage. And then the last suffix, I don't really care about too much, right? But maybe mana regen would be good here, but it wasn't as important to me. I'm not a crit based build, I'm a dot build, right? But yeah, so I decided I'd go with a +5 fractured chaos wand, right? And then annul it down, and then you chaos orb the free mod, the second mod, into cast speed. This should take roughly 50 to 100 chaos orbs, so it's not cheap. It's a few divine orbs to get this. Once you get to this cast speed stage, it becomes very deterministic, because opening this again, you can kind of see you've got +5, right? So all you need to do is look at the tags of the thing you're fracturing. You see I've got chaos caster gem, so chaos caster gem. And then I got speed as well, added from the cast speed mod. And so these are the only mods I can exalt. So you make it so that you can only exalt prefixes. You make it so it double exalts and homogenizes it with tier. You could technically do greater if you want to gamble and you don't want to do perfect, because obviously... But if you've got the fractured base, at this point you just perfect exalt, to be honest, because it's so expensive. And so what a perfect exalt will do is it'll make it so you're only rolling 89 spell damage or above. So it'll hit 2 out of 3 out of spell damage, mana, spell damage, and chaos damage, yeah? And then you've just got an open prefix and an open suffix left. Yeah, so you use these 3 omens with a perfect exalt, and then that'll give you spell damage, hybrid, chaos, pick 2. Veiled, then you veiled or veiled the last mod with the new abyss modifiers, yeah? You just use a desecration. I should say desecrate, because that's the correct term. Desecrate the last prefix mod. And then you're left with this exact wand, just deterministically from scratch. And like I said, you can do this for pretty much everything. Like, this is how the bows are being made. But yeah, anyway, I'll tell you what, I will go over the 3 socket stuff real quick. So another type of craft in Path of Exile 2 that I wouldn't say it's necessarily like super like how do I say this? You're not getting a 6 stat tier 1 perfect item, but you are abusing a very broken modifier that exists. So let's just go over that mod real quick, because this is the key. This is why this is so strong, and this is why it's so broken. There's an essence in the game called Essence of Horror. This has 100% effect of socketed items. It works on gloves and boots. So what this allows you to do is, let's say you put in, I don't know, Tech Rod's Gaze, right? Boots have 10% increased movement speed when on no life, right? You put that in your boots with this mod, and you get 20% movement speed while on no life. Or, there's another broken one. 20% wither magnitude becomes 40%, yeah? So 40% magnitude per socket. Now, in Path of Exile 2 0.3, they also added the ability for items to roll exceptional. An exceptional base actually rolls naturally, uncorrupted, with 2 rune sockets. Corrupted, no. So let's just look at like Sandstorm boots. Just as an example, there's this uncorrupted 2 sockets, just naturally rolled like this, yeah? So it's a bit of RNG, don't get me wrong, but even with just 2 sockets, this is absolutely broken. But if you manage to get lucky like I did and hit 3 with the corrupt, you can see I've got 120 wither magnitude. This is 60% increased damage. And then I have a pair of boots here with 70% total movement speed. Now this isn't, neither of these, the gloves nor the boots, are particularly insane, except for that 100% effect 3 socket. But the other mods, obviously you're starting from one base, right? So this is a one try, one base, right? You get the exceptional base. How do you get to the point where you've got a usable, equipable item? Well, luckily you can get like, not a top tier base, but you can get like you know, an okay second tier base, very cheap, right? And then use, you just start with perfect transmute, perfect org. Very simple, right? Nothing too crazy there. But that's essentially all the RNG. After that, you're just abusing essences and homogenization and veiled mods. Did they fix POE2? No, I wouldn't say they did. But I would say it's mixed at the moment. Some people are really vibing and having a good time. Some people are not at all okay. Some people need a hug. It's been really interesting to me personally, seeing people like freak out and crash out. Because last week that was me, right? Balance is why. Yes, it is to do with game balance. But I do want to point out, I think it's important you play a build that is good and you enjoy. The problem is that even if you play a good build, you need to enjoy it. So a lot of the people playing like Deadeyes, for example, are like, they feel like forced to play Deadeye, and they don't want to play Deadeye. I'm just lucky I found something in between. Something that's powerful. Something that's powerful and I enjoy. And I haven't played it before. You know, there is one problem, by the way. So I have one complaint about POE2 now. This is cool, don't get me wrong, but it's a real thought. With crafting being so strong, it makes uniques less exciting. Like in POE2 right now, items like Defiance of Destiny and Wrathpith are supposed to be basically best in slot. Like you need like mirror tier gear to replace them. But now that you can basically craft mirror tier gear, it's like, I'd actually rather, like, my shield, how much damage does my shield give me? My shield, wow, yeah, it actually gives me more than a Wrathpith would in terms of like, okay, honestly, no, it's more than 3x, chat. Because it's a +1 totem. It's basically, yeah, it's more than 3 times damage.
Death, take you.
How insane is that? If you can make such an insane item, relatively deterministically by the way, that those uniques that are like Mage Blood tier are now like devalued in a sense. And I would say better by the way, because in POE2 uniques usually have a downside, and Wrathpith does. It has the sacrifice cost bullshit. All I can tell you, chat, is my amulet and focus craft are so strong that it kind of blows my mind how much damage, like how much power I got from 2 crafts that cost me, I think it was like 4 divine in total almost. Yeah, it was like 4 divine total.